I'm Heidi Hooper, the dryland artist, the totally crazy, wacky dryland artist. And I'm here with Jim of Gamut Gallery, who has a fabulous mid-sized gallery. And you're here to pick his brain. And that's why we're here, is to pick his brain, but not literally, just artistically. So anyhow, we have some questions that we came up with for Jim, and we'll start here. And then by all means, ask whatever questions you guys want.
Do you want me to read the questions
Yeah,
out? Absolutely.
sorry.
Let's start with pop-up galleries versus galleries like craft galleries. Tell us about your kind of gallery and how it's different from other galleries.
Pop-up galleries are great for a short period of time. And if we go to craft galleries, we're looking at more mom and pop or people learning the craft. My gallery is a bit different because we like to show the diversification of the different types of art. The rationale boils down to is that, yes, you can have a gallery that just shows plein air, just a gallery that shows abstract, just a gallery that does surreal pieces. But the group you're bringing in is actually the same people who do that type of art. When you want to bring in a large group of people, you would open up a gallery that shows the diversification, shows that there are different types of art available. Most people don't even know what half of the art is titled, what it's about, or why it's there. And I bring up to some of the people that come into our gallery, and I just say, do you understand what industrial art is? And they scratch their heads and say, industrial art? And I say, did you just buy a new car? What color was it? What did you get as an extra? That's industrial art, okay? And that includes just about everything that could be held by the hand, carried with you in your home, okay?
So how do you find the right gallery?
Well, you can go to larger galleries. I'm just a mid-size. I'm not that large. But you can go to some of the larger galleries in larger areas where the metropolis is bigger. And when you go there, you hear about XYZ gallery and you say, oh, let me go see what they're doing. And they may show different pieces from different types of people, but they're also trying to educate. And that's the big deal for me, for Gamut Art Gallery, is to educate people to say that there's something else. You know, you just can't focus on hypothetically furniture design. You can't say realism. You can't say plein air. You try to show everybody that there's something else, okay? And it's huge. The art world is huge. I don't care if it's Japanese art, I don't care, whatever it may be. But it has to also be enticing. It has to be a bit different. When it's different, people look at it and also educates that person, saying, oh, I might be able to do that, okay? I could try to do that.
Heidi, how do you find galleries for your work, which is unusual?
Open. Yeah, you have to go in, you walk around, or you ignored. That's the bottom line. If I'm ignored, I walk right back out and I never see the place again. If somebody comes up to me and they're pleasant, and they're nice, and friendly, then yeah, that's a 50-50 shot. I may consider coming back and asking, you know. But I send brochures out, I send postcards out. But for the most part, hoping it's the best, because one-on-one, you got to know if you vibe together. Because if you don't vibe together, your sales are going to show it, you know.
Do you search online to find these places first?
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah, I do search online, but you know, you do get disappointed because the pictures online are not the same as when you walk in the door. You know, the space looks so much bigger when you walk from the photos, and you walk in, it's like if I held my elbows out like this,
Mhm.
I'm gonna knock things off shelves, and that's not where you wanna put your artwork. You know, you don't wanna be, you want like almost a room where you can swing a partner between pieces of art, you know?
You want to
So
view
you
the
can
piece.
visually see the piece, because when you're that cramped, you're thinking about, I don't want to get knocked by somebody more so than you're looking at the actual art, is my philosophy.
Jim, how do you find the artist? Do you go searching for the artist, or do you wait for them to come to you?
Now it's 50-50, but majority of the time, most of the time, I hear about an artist, or I see something that interests me, and I follow up, and I'm not particularly excited about their accolades, okay? Because I don't care if you went to the Whitney, wherever you were going, whatever museum you're going. To read all those accolades is not the reason I'm there. I'm to look at the art. And I might take up an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, fold it up, put it in my pocket to read later. But I don't really particularly care what that person was doing in 1981. It has no bearing on today's art, okay? But then again, when I go visit an artist, which is my primary, excuse me, when I go visit an artist, I look around and I see what they're doing. I see their studio. I see if they're working on the kitchen table. Doesn't matter. But what I also do see is some of their past work that they didn't particularly care for. And I look at it and say, well, I know a couple patrons, so I'll take that picture or sculpture from 1990 and bring it in with their latest. Now we have diversification. The person was doing this, but now they're up to this. So in rationale, it really says, oh, this person is like going all over the board of really accomplishing something, where many people just keep doing the same thing over and over and over. I don't look at that.
And do you require artists to only bring new pieces then?
I would prefer pieces that have not been shown. Okay, it's not necessarily new. I prefer new because that shows growth. Okay, but if they have something like I just previously said, something that they didn't like, I said, oh, I may know of a patron that would enjoy that piece. Okay.
But is that normal for most galleries? They only want the newer stuff?
No, not really. See, most galleries between my size and a bit larger are not really, they really don't particularly care about the artist's background. They don't. What they care about is how much they can put up on their walls and how much they can sell. Right? They don't want to know the backstory. They don't want to know any of that. You can go to anywhere, Nyack, New York, Lambertville, New Hope. You can go numerous places, and it's just packed. And like Heidi said earlier, you don't want to get cramped. It's like going into a library and looking at all the backs of the books. I don't want that. I want to stand back and look at the picture. But if you put 7 or 8 different artists all on one wall, you're not there for the art. You really are not.
Well, there's a difference then between art galleries and craft galleries. Quite a few craft galleries are more aimed towards stores. They're selling as opposed to showing the art, if I can say that.
The art is treated more like product than something special. That's the difference. Craft galleries is really more like this producing this, and this, and that person's producing that. It's not a look at what this person did, see how they did this. That's the huge difference. Even if you do have salespeople in a craft gallery that know their stuff, they're still not going to spend but so much time with you. Where as an actual gallery like Jim's, I said that probably badly. you've actually got people that are like
Spending time.
spending time to tell about the artist, to encourage people to buy the art because of the artist, not because of it looks pretty on their wall.
So Jim, when people come in and look at the artwork, do you talk about the artist's background and their
I talk about their background. I like to throw in little innuendos, like, you know, she's a crazy redhead, you know, something. Which,
Hawaiian hair.
which actually brings the possible customer patron into conversation, okay? Sure, we may have hundreds of pieces of small pieces, antiquities, all sorts of different things. So people get that diversification again. But the rationale, when you go to the craft world, it's a whole different price structure. And people just say, oh, this would be fine for my nephew Jojo. Okay, and it's $22. I sell $22 items, but I'm promoting the $500, $600, $700, $8,000 items too. Okay, there is a difference, and part of the craft world really is if I can make this same widget 52 times, I'm going to put it in 52 different stores, and I will sell half of them. Okay.
Yeah.
when an artist comes to your gallery wanting to show in your gallery, what do you look for? What turns you off? What makes you say, oh, this looks like a promising person, or this doesn't?
Sometimes they're overbearing. Okay. First, when someone walks in, and I use my glasses, but they take out their phone and they say, oh, here, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. Number one, I have no idea what I'm looking at. I don't know what medium it is. I don't know what size it is. I don't know if I'm getting true color. It's like watching a color TV. My TV is a different color than your TV. Okay. So I kind of shy away from it. I also look at it as I have a gallery, believe it or not, we bring in the Cub Scouts and the Girl Scouts because they have to get their art merit badge. And we will talk to these, and it's fun, trust me. We will talk to these kids and we'll show them, and they'll look at something naked, and that little chubby guy over in the corner is going, laughing and giggling, you know. But the rationale really boils down to is he's interested. Okay, so we do bring them in. We have elderly people that come in and I say, well, I don't think I can show your type of art. Okay, we have to draw a line on certain things. Okay, there's a lot of people who want to put in, and they're terrific artists, political pieces. You kind of steer clear of that because you don't know who your next customer is going to be. Okay. There's people who want to show this wonderful emaciated deer laying in the. I don't want to see that. And no, I don't think anybody else does either. Okay. I think art should be entertaining, enjoyable, humorous, clever, different, exciting, passionate. There's so many things to look at. And then there will always be one or two.
The dark side.
The dark side.
But there are shows specifically for
There
those
are
kind of
tons
things.
shows specifically.
Heidi, how do you find those shows? Where do you go online to find that kind of stuff?
Art calls, art entry thingy, calls for artists. God, there's a slew of them. Cafe, I've stopped, or what is it? I've stopped using because it's like almost all of it is Biofair and those guys are pay to play vanities, and it's like it just irritates me.
Let's talk about that for a minute, just to explain what that means. There are galleries that want you to pay to be in their gallery, and most of it just online, correct?
Most of them are just online, but there are actual shows like the box show. We have to pay. You have to pay them big money for them to feature one piece of your artwork on a wall with 50 other people. And I've read lots and lots of surveys and stuff, and all the artists say those things are just horrible. They're just vanity. They don't ever promote it as vanity. They'll deny their vanity for their vanity. Vanity is basically, give me your money and I'll say I'm doing a lot of stuff for you and I'll promise a lot of stuff for you, but it's only in-house stuff I'm giving you. Like, oh, we'll put you in a book. Yeah, well, the book is only for those people who were other people that were suckers, and the book goes nowhere. Yeah, they send out 1,000 books, but the 1,000 books were to the artist in the book. You know,
They're making their money off the artists
they're
instead
making
of
their
on the
money off
patrons.
the artists. Yeah, there's the Dango awards, there's the Da Vinci awards, there's the abstract awards. What was the other? There's a portrait awards. There's hundreds of them out there, and you just got to look. But if you see Bioferrin and any of those names associated with Bioferrin, those are all they usually list like 3 or 4 together, and they're all vanities.
Now, Jim, you mentioned earlier that you like to go to the actually artist studios to see their work as opposed to just having them bring them to your gallery. And you mentioned what you're looking for, but it doesn't matter to you whether it's on a kitchen table or if they have a separate studio. What would make you not want to use that artist if you went to see their studio?
Well, in all honesty, I want to use that artist if I'm going there. That's the bottom line, okay? I want that artist, I want to show, I want to explain, I want them to be there at the opening. Otherwise, there's no sense in me going there. And like I've walked into some places that caught me off guard. You know, their studio was a Home Depot shed in their backyard. And I'm walking through the weeds and I get there and I'm saying, this is wrong, this is wrong. It's only happened a couple times. But when I walked in, it was like, ta-da, I'm in Disney World. This is terrific. So we don't get that far. All right.
For those of you who are online with us right now, please note that you can post your questions in the chat room while Heidi's busy trying to get her cat to sit on her lap. All right, now you mentioned, Jim, the kind of pieces you like to show. So when you go to an artist gallery, an artist studio, how do you decide which pieces to take and which ones you don't want? But that's personal preference, though, right? Because it's your gallery.
It's only 50%. 50% of it, the other 50% is really what my patrons like to see. Okay, there's different ways to look at galleries. Some galleries, the artists in that area are, for lack of better words, a clique. That they just kind of munch around going from one building to another building and they show their work and they keep showing it and they keep showing it and nothing's happening. Then there's co-ops. Co-ops are very strange to me because you're a member, you pay to be a member, and they hang your stuff, but it's hung with 70 other members in a very small room, like you were saying before. Mm-hmm. You don't know what you're looking at. Mm-hmm. You can't stand back. So is this all theoretically like a mindset for them, like, oh, my art is up?
Yeah.
Is that all they care about?
At a co-op, you also have to do office hours too.
Yeah.
Okay. A certain amount of office hours as well as pay them money for.
Right. So we refrain. We've never done it, but we don't want the artist to have to pay anything. Okay, we're on a commission basis, but if we're going to have an opening, I'm not asking for your money. I'm asking for your artwork.
What is the average percentage that a commission, what a gallery would get? I'm sure people are going to ask that.
In this area, it's about 25 to 30%. Okay, but you also have to remember that some people who do carry that 25 to 30% also charge a hanging charge, a space charge, a food and beverage charge, and it just keeps adding up. I understand that there's a new person who wants to and has opened wants to open a high-end craft store. And I questioned them and said, okay, if I want to bring in a painting that's 2 foot by 2 foot,
Uh-huh.
and it's crafted, it's beads, it could be whatever. So what are you charging me? He goes, $10 a square foot. So I got 2 by 2, that's 4 square feet, that's $40, okay? $40 for a month. We hang for 3 months.
Yeah,
So that means it's $120 it's costing him.
yeah,
And on top of that, he gets a 15% commission if it's sold. How much was it worth? You know, was it $100 or are we losing money on this bet? So everybody has a different way of doing it. I excuse my French, I don't rate the artist. I won't. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. And I do bring in new artists, young. to
and
give
that's
them-
why Brad and Sue are such an awesome gallery.
Well, conceptually, you get a kid in college, he's 22, or a girl, whatever, and they come in and show you something, you go, wow, it's gonna be good in 10, 15 years. This is exciting, you know?
Yeah.
You want to be the one who discovers them.
No,
Oh, okay.
I want to give them that chance. Okay?
To be seen.
To be seen, because nobody else is doing it. Oh, yeah, Aunt Yola's going, oh, you do such great work. That's as far as it goes.
Can I just throw
Yeah.
something in here?
This is Mary, Jim's wife.
I'm not on camera on purpose. One of the things that you had asked is how do we decide who comes into the gallery? And usually when someone calls, wants to know how to get into the gallery, we'll ask them to send some of
That's a
copies
different
of
order.
some of their pictures to our email. We'll look at that. If we're interested in them, then we'll ask them to stop in the gallery so we can kind of look at them firsthand. And then if that decision is made, we want to see more. And then he'll go out to their place. But we do have a lot of people
We have
come
a
in.
process.
We have a lot of people come in and say, my son is such a great artist. You know, can you show him here? So it is a process and a way of, Jim will also give them pointers if they're not quite there yet and they need some learning. Give them some pointers of what they might want to try, but they're not a good fit at this time. So
When Heidi mentioned that sometimes she sends brochures and postcards and things to galleries saying, hey, would you check me out? Look at my webpage, that kind of stuff. Has that happened to you? And is it effective?
We don't advertise, Gamut itself doesn't really advertise that much. We're word of mouth, okay? And when we look at people's art, we look at a few things and how to promote themselves, and we ask them, in all honesty, stop putting your whole picture on the internet. Show 25% of it, a corner of the piece of art. That gets people's interest. They say, what is this going to be? Where am I right now? We also tell them, we're going to put you in this show, please do not bring a little tiny business card. It's lost. If it's picked up, okay? It might say Picasso across it, and you take it and you put it in your wallet, or you put it in your purse, or you put it in your suitcase, and it's lost forever. So we try to explain to them, do a 3 by 5 or 4 by 6 card from Instaprint that shows your picture. Don't put our name on it. Put your name on it, on the back of it. Okay? That big piece of
And your web
cardboard,
info.
that big piece of paper will not be lost, will not be forgotten.
Because it's a big photograph, you
Yes.
know, it's like a big photograph. You're not gonna throw it. photograph.
And we also say, please make extra, because we show a display of all these people's cards that have been at the gallery. And people come in, they go, oh, who's this? I look, and we just say, take it, it's free. Contact the artist. Okay?
Or
So-
if you want anything from their website, we surely can get it back into the gallery for you if it's not so.
So we're promoting the artist more than most people, but we're also looking at trying to educate and refresh this area, Strasbourg, all around here, used to be a huge art colony, huge.
Mhm.
But time, time tells the same story everywhere. The kids don't want the business, they move away, the parents move to Florida, blah, 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 blah. We're trying to regenerate
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, we have things planned in the works, but we're not gonna say all details yet. 'cause that gives the thing
But
away.
trying to bring groups of artists together, whether they're sculptors, jewelers, whatever, bringing them all together just to have discussion opens new doors for everybody, saying, hey, why did we do this? Or why can't we go here? Why don't we have an art show? Why can't we do this? Because right now, the majority of the artists that are in this area are just like, I'm just gonna show my painting at the satellite. What's a satellite? Oh, at my dentist's office.
Yeah,
It doesn't make sense, but that's what they've been doing since
Yeah.
it's been slowly crushing itself.
Yeah.
It's crushing itself.
And by doing that, a satellite office per se is basically you're giving the dentist office your artwork for free.
actually, the Arts Council charges the Arts office, it's $300 a month to show
Oh,
the
yeah.
art.
Well, let's not just talk about local stuff, because we're gonna have people who are gonna be watching from all
Oh,
over the
yeah, I'm
country.
sorry, I probably shouldn't say-
Yes. Now, in fact, Heidi, you've been in galleries all over the country.
Yeah,
You found them online by, the places you mentioned earlier.
yeah.
We should mention that most of these things do have a fee you have to pay. How is that different from having to be a vanity? What's the difference there? To apply, there's an application fee.
Yeah, application fee. The difference is the vanity is they take your money and you get nothing else, basically.
Are they juried for the
No.
vanity thing?
Vanities are not juried. Vanity is out to make money. They're not out to promote the artist. Bottom line. They just, they will take, if 1,000 people apply, they'll take 1,000 people because they want the money.
Mhm.
It's not, I mean, especially the online shows, they don't care. Well, it's easy, just pop it up online. And it's just, so you're number 56 out of 3,000, It's, you're still out of 3,000. It's nobody's gonna give a hoot about your artwork. So that's why I'm saying it's a waste.
So when you check these things, when you go online and you see that there's a show in some gallery someplace not nearby, and they say that it's going to be a juried show, how do you know whether it's going to be a good juried show or not?
I look at all the past jury shows and I read all the reviews on the past jury shows. And I actually take and look up the artists and send them a text. I'm really bad about that. I'm sending them a little text going, how was your show here? Is this a gallery worth dealing with?
Does it
And
matter?
you'd be surprised, a lot of artists will answer back and say, no, this was horrible. Don't do it. If it was a bad one, they will tell you, boom.
How about the juror themselves? Does that make a difference in your choice?
Yes, if you have, like, I don't do landscapes. I won't touch them with a 10-foot pole. But if all your jurors are landscape artists, I wouldn't apply because I'm not gonna fit. They're not gonna have the same structural, mental, what they're looking at on my work as they would on a landscape.
Another factor is when you look and I look, how come the same 4 people keep winning almost every
Oh, God,
year?
yes, I forgot about that.
That's
Yes.
the big one.
Yeah,
okay?
and if you do your research, 9 times out of 10, it's somebody related to somebody related to somebody who's running the thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, so the money doesn't really go out. The prize money doesn't really go out. So. Yeah,
Jim,
I forgot about that.
Okay, once you have a show and you're having opening night, and everyone's there, what do you expect from the artist as far as being there on opening night, promoting it, that sort of thing? And will that make your decision in whether to invite them back?
No. It's, Kitty's here. I like that they have the integrity and they have the camaraderie and they actually are humanitarians to talk, describe, and then go over and talk to another artist who's doing something totally different. But it's called communication. I think that's really, you take all four of those, and it's called communication. If I brought them in once, I probably will bring them in again, but I'm looking at hundreds of different artists, right? So I can't say, oh, I'm gonna bring you in next month. I'm gonna bring you in the next show. I can't do that because I'm always finding somebody, okay? And I expect them to, out of that communication, to be jovial, okay? Take things very seriously when the other artist or a client, potential client, is talking to them, saying, how did you, and they can explain it where it's easy, because many artists, many patrons, many first-time buyers have no idea what you're talking about. They don't know acrylic from oil, okay?
I get too technical.
Well, you do, but that's okay, because there's those people who really want to know about it, okay? It's interesting, and then sometimes I get so overwhelmed because I have to play the four. I'm not Fred Astaire going from room to room and talking to everybody, and then somebody can come up to me and say, hey, I'd like to show you my work in the middle of an opening.
Oh, no,
And that's just, I in my head, I'm saying, no, thank you. Why don't you come back tomorrow or next weekend?
yeah.
But I think the whole key to a successful gallery is communication, and you have to be able to laugh at yourself.
Mhm.
You have to be. Some artists like so serious, and then you just say something like, you didn't have to use alcohol paint, you could have used this. And then they get really serious.
Mhm.
Many of them, most of them, take my experience and say, oh, that's a good idea. I won't frame it black, I'll frame it white, okay? Or I'll make a small change. The rationale really boils down to is communication. And I go to many different shows, Mary and I, and it's just like, they don't talk.
Mhm.
Why? Because they're seeing the same thing over and over and over again.
How do you, Heidi, this is more for you. How do you promote it once you have a new show?
Oh my God. I put it on everything. I make flyers and I cover the friggin' town. I cover Instagram. I cover all the art pages that I'm on, which is tons of art groups. I cover Facebook for like every other day. There's another posting on Facebook, and I'm doing the same thing on Instagram every other day. And I post the pictures that are in the show. I don't post parts. I'm sorry, I post the whole group.
No, that's okay.
But it's like, come see this at Gamut Gallery. There's a whole lot more to see. I'm just one artist of many, and the artwork is awesome. And I'll post other artists' work too, because you post it up, and I just do a little clip and then post their artists. So I support the other artists too. And then just word of mouth. You call people.
Yeah.
And that's about it. But I mean, it's a lot of work for
anybody.
but it does get people going. I mean, the galleries, every time you go to a show at Jim's, it's packed. I mean, you could barely move opening night. It's so packed.
When you have an opening at any gallery, do you, like I know you do when you've opened at Gamut Art Gallery, but do you send out to your followers that you're having an opening?
Oh yeah.
at that gallery.
Absolutely. I
And
send
that's
emails to everybody I know. Actually, Michael does, I don't.
besides the Facebook posts and stuff, most artists have a following of email addresses. And it's always recommended that we reach out as a gallery to followers of the gallery, but each and every artist also has a following. So you want, as an artist, to promote what gallery you're in, because it's nice for the gallery to say, wow, look at how many people she brought in, which will make them consider that artist again in the future.
Yeah. And Patreon, that's, you use those Patreon people
Right.
to notify every time you have a show.
Mhm.
And I always send them the pictures of everything that's going in the show, and yeah, that's why Christine was like, no, I want that one. I want it now. No one's getting that piece.
Mhm.
I saw that piece, you posted that piece, and I want that piece. So,
You have sold a couple of shows during a couple of pieces during opening
Yeah.
because people saw them on. Yeah,
because they saw it online, that woman from, where was she? Milk, no, anyhow, up north,
Yeah,
Miss
yeah,
Grant,
yeah.
came all the way down to get that one piece. It's because I was posting it.
And is there anything you do to help promote it other than the standard normal flyers and such?
I think besides the internet, Mary does that. I'm always in a meeting somewhere with an artist or a possible sponsor, a possible somebody, and I bring it up to them. They go, "So of course I'll do that." Okay, but I've been doing this for 8.5 years, and what's happening is they know that this is special. Okay, it's not the same artist. It's not the same group of people moving one point to another point. It's refreshing, it's understandable. And today, one of the artists is showing, her son's best friend lives in Brooklyn. He drove all the way down today at a 2:00 meeting to show what he does. Ay, ay, ay. So we're going to Brooklyn to go see his studio.
Mhm.
It's like two and a half hours from New York to here.
Yeah. So the rationale is, if it's that exciting to me, I know it's exciting to other people. Okay. And we just have to be in a territorial area that's in between and in betwixt. Okay. It used to be, and we're gonna make it be.
Mhm.
That's what we're really at right now.
Okay.
We're like 2.5 to 3 hours from New York and 2 hours from Philadelphia, so we're in a perfect
So-
prime spot.
Depending on where in New York you are, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Half of that is driving through New
City,
York.
New York City, Manhattan. Talking about Manhattan.
Okay, fine. All right. We pretty much gone through our main questions. So is there any other points you think you want to make that we haven't discussed yet?
I think this is a first run, dry run conversation to get people's attention. This was good.
Mhm.
I'll wait for the big cojones to come up. and
When they come
challenge
up.
us.
Someone is asking, how do you find good art groups to join other than just like your local group, you know?
Like online?
Well, just anything, the person who's writing says he's a member of the Allentown art group, he or she, I'm not sure who it is. And
I joined the Allentown Art Group because I had talked to a bunch of Allentown artists, and I went, these are my kind of people.
Mhm.
And so that's why I joined them, and that's why I went out of my way to post that, on the Allentown Art Group. I do a lot of woofing. I talk to people. I join a group when it's, of course, online stuff, there's no way to really tell one way or the other. 6 1 half does the other. Some of the small groups that have like just a few thousand people, I get a lot more constructive comments and whatever from those than I do the ones that have thousands of members. But as far as the getting groups, I talk to artists. I talk to artists all around me. in the area where I am in Strasburg, it needs help. Allentown's pretty dang good. Bethlehem, of course, is, the one everybody goes to. But Allentown is really popping up something great. I mean, really great artists out there. I don't know that many art groups around me that I'm interested in, to be totally honest. A lot of them I checked out is just same old stuff you've been seeing since you were 10 years old. And 90% of the artists are doing that kind of artwork. And I'm like, I'm not going to fit in there. I do silly, humorous. If I'm not laughing at the piece when I'm done, then I feel I failed. So for me to be put up next to serious, a lot of the art stuff around here is like, I'm serious oil painter. I only do portraits. We got a lot of that around here, and those people like turning me off faster.
But you also join a lot of Facebook art groups that would fit your stuff, right?
Oh gosh, yes. When I'm gonna look to join a Facebook art group, I look to see. I spend a whole week just scrolling down, seeing what other people posted on that group, and that makes me decide whether I'm gonna fit or not. And I read the comments. I read all the comments. I'll take a piece of artwork that is the most god-awful thing I've ever seen in my life. Why the hell somebody posted this? I don't know. The proportions are off. The colors are just god-awful next to each other. And when all the artwork is like that, I'm not going to be on that page. I'm not joining that group. If it's a bunch of mix of a lot of that and a lot of mid-range people and no super refined artists, I will give them a 50-50 shot, because as you've seen with my other postings, I tend to handle things from an educational standpoint, and I try to help other artists out there. And so that's when I join those pages, is to help people. What were you saying?
Well, I would say also to find a gallery that you like and feel like your artwork would fit well in that gallery, and then follow that gallery and see who their friends are for Facebook to really kind of give you a feel, because you don't want to box yourself into only one type of style. But it would give you at least some feedback, some kind of direction on who you want to listen to and advice you want to take from other people.
We have some stuff, big planning in the works, but I can't give the details of it because I don't want to jinx it. But there will be some good stuff coming up to connect in Allentown. I'll keep you posted as things come, since you're nearby.
All right. Thank you very much.
Is that all the questions? Nobody else? I mean, there's no such thing as a stupid question.
Okay. Well, here's
I mean, my first gallery I went to, I brought silver jewelry in a Dutch cookie tin. Mm-hmm. And the girl was like, I don't think you're going to fit here before you even open the cookie tin. I opened the cookie tin and she goes, honey, you don't do this. Mm-hmm. And I went, but I did do the artwork because I was so friggin' clueless. Mm-hmm. And she's like, no, honey, your presentation. You're lucky you opened the tin as fast as you did, because I would have told you I've got other things I got to do. But the second I saw the artwork, I was like, this girl just doesn't have a clue. Because your work is phenomenal.
That was at the gallery in Boston? Yes,
yeah, when you were gallery in Boston.
Yeah. Okay. There's another question. Is it good to focus on one type of thing? This person says, they painted many genres, animals, cars, flowers. Should they be focusing on one thing, or should they just do what they love to do?
Do what makes you feel good, because it shows up in your artwork. If you're doing something that you're straining, the art piece feels strained, and you look at it, you can go, I'm not sure quite what it is, but something's off.
If you don't love it, no one else is going to.
I have gone the whole route of doing old masters because that's what everybody wanted. And then I did other stuff because that's what everybody wanted. And then I finally went, I'm not enjoying what I'm doing. I'm just feel like I'm making product, even though I'm not making product. And I just went, you know what? I'm going to do what's going to make me happy. And I've never turned back.
But,
And the artwork's gotten better.
but, as this person question, if you're bored, completely change your media.
Mhm.
Change it. Try. And you'll see how quick either you're gonna go back
Mhm.
or
Good
move
point.
on. It's very important to be influenced by changing if you're bored. And when you start looking at everybody around you who's doing the same thing, you get bored very quickly.
When my art becomes easy, like I'm not having to think when I'm doing it, that's when I tell myself, okay, the next piece can't be anything like anything you've done,
And
because I have to get out of that rut.
I also think, I guess I should have been on camera.
Yeah.
I also think that sometimes if you challenge yourself to try something different, you may be surprised at how much you like it and how beautiful it turned out.
Mhm.
So it's always kind of fun to challenge yourself to
The artwork
do something.
I'm getting ready for you is nothing like you've seen. I'm sorry, but it is good. It's really good. But I'm looking like 40s Disney now.
Mm,
Ooh.
She's-
See, right out of the bag.
no, no.
Why did you do that?
Okay.
See, nobody's gonna watch this anymore.
So, yeah. So I'm always, I look at art as it's a journey. If it gets too comfortable, you gotta step out of the box.
Yeah.
And be as uncomfortable as you possibly can be.
All right. Well, as we finish up here, please say where they can see you online, give me your address and everything. And Jim, you give your information as
Can I-
well. Heidi?
Okay.
I have a question.
Sure, go for it. Go for it.
Oh, someone's, okay, hold on a second.
Absolutely, go for it.
Hold on.
Hi,
I just,
Heidi. I'm so sorry. I just missed you. I hope I can watch it later, the
Mhm.
Oh,
recording.
that's all right. Ask
Yeah.
whatever you want, honey. There's no such thing
Yeah.
as a dumb question. I guarantee it.
Is it too much if I ask you? You have seen my Instagram, but this gentleman, take a look at my work and tell me if they are too much. Is it confusing for audience? Can I find my niche basically based on my work, or should I just get one path? Let's say watercolor loose, not mixed media, and maybe
instead-
larger work, not big, not.
let me request that you do that after we log off, because that's a very personal question that doesn't apply to everybody. All right?
So just hang
Okay,
tight.
then
Hang
tell
tight.
me.
No,
Tell
hang
me
tight.
if
Hang tight. We'll get back to you in a minute. All right. So Heidi, give me your, how to find you.
Make sure everybody else has, okay. I'm Heidi Hooper, the dryer lint artist, the wackio dryer lint artist. I'm on Heidi Hooper Art Instagram, HeidiHooper.com, and my Gmail is HeidiHooper@gmail.com. I work in dryer lint. There you go.
I'm curator Jim Evanisko at Gamut Art Gallery. We're at 109 North 8th Street in Stroudsburg. We have email addresses. We have all sorts of things that you can contact us. Just look up the word Gamut, Gamut. It'll get you
Art
to us.
Gallery,
Yep.
PA.
Yep.
Gamut Art Gallery, PA.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay.